A conversation with some friends over Skype is the reason behind this story. Having said that, this isn't a story. Sleep deprivation. For those who don't know, a process your body and brain undergo when you are lacking sleep. I don't mean when you only get a couple hours sleep. I mean when you don't sleep at all, for days on end. I'm not going to lie and say that I'm an expert on this subject. This is just my personal experience through hell. Many people have sleep deprivation for a number of reasons, but my personal reason was because I experienced nightmares of a truly disturbing nature. They all seemed so real as well, to the point where I got lost and forgot which was a dream and which was reality. I picked the reality that seemed to contain less pain and fear for myself, and I refused to sleep from there on. I was fine for the first few days, just tired. Energy drinks and copious amounts of tea fixed that quite easily. Around the fourth night, about 100 hours with no sleep, I was having serious trouble concentrating on anything for more than a minute. I couldn't really speak nor do anything that required an attention span. It was on the 6th night things got bad. I was in the kitchen getting a glass of water when I saw something move out of the corner of my eye. I knew it was just my imagination, so I ignored it, as one would. Leaving the kitchen and walked into the hallway when I saw that something was looking at me from my dark living room. I froze and just stared at it, and it stared back. Fear gripped my heart and mind, too hard for me to even think about moving. Reality started to become a concept I wasn't aware of. Thoughts were racing through my mind. What was it? Was I in danger? And could I fight off if needed be? I could only see its eyes, until they blinked and merged back into the darkness. I realized that whatever it was wasn't planning on opening its eyes again, so I ran for the light switch, slamming it as hard as I could. The living room light was now on. I scanned the room only to see nothing. I walked around the house, turning on all the lights. From the living room, I turned on the hallway light, then reached into the door on my left and flipped the switch. The kitchen light was now on. I walked straight down to the end of the hallway, flipping on one of the two switches that controlled the upstairs hallway lights. The upstairs hallway light was now on. Sighing in relief, I turned back around. The living room light was off. I looked around and saw that there was no lights on anywhere. I must have imagined myself doing so, but I was sure that I had. I could see it in my head. My hand was on the switch in every room I visited. I suddenly screamed as I saw a hand just about to grab my shoulder. I spun around as quickly as I could, only to be greeted with nothing. I was starting to shake slightly and breathe hard. I walked back towards the living room cautiously and flipped the light switch again. The living room light was on this time. I remained in the room to be certain. I sat in the living room on my laptop for a few more hours, mindlessly searching the internet, zoning in and out of reality. It was about 4 a.m. at this point. I can't say for sure, but I was well over the 150-hour mark. My mind was bending in an almost indefinable way. I distinctly remember I was listening to some classical music to help calm myself. The specific track escapes me. The music, ever so gentle, eased into a slower pace. I was confused. I assumed my laptop was breaking down. I tried to get up, but everything I interpreted was in slow motion. I had been awake long enough for my brain to start shutting down. My motor function breaking down into a horrifying setting. I could feel my blood running slower in my veins. My heartbeat slowing into almost a halt. My body was going into meltdown, and I could feel every step of it. I had never been so frightened in my life, and I have never experienced anything even remotely close to this sensation since. I get up and walk into the hallway, but I freeze, seeing something that makes my blood run cold. The hallway was flooded in a vibrant darkness. The light switch is close to me. I scrabble over the wall trying to find it, but I can't. It's not that I couldn't find it. It wasn't there anymore. I was shocked back into a semi-normal state of mind. By that, I mean one where I was living in slow motion. I knew the only way I'm going to get this light on is if I walk through the darkness to the switch on the other end. The hallway is longer than I remember it. I can't see the end. I take my first hesitant step. Nothing. Good. I take another step. And that's when I realize the living room light is off. Fear sets in deeply. My heart is beating so hard in my chest that I can hear it. I start to walk again. Step by step. 1. Nothing. 2. Did I just hear a whisper? 3. I can see something to my side. I'm nearly crying. 4. I can hear small footfalls around me, as if rat-like creatures were flocking around me. I dare not look down. 5. This isn't my house. There's only 2 doors in this hallway, not 4. Tears are threatening to fall from my eyes. 6. I can feel something breathing down my neck. My legs are shaking and tears are flowing down my face. 7. The hallway is too long. Where am I? 8. There are so many of them, all around me. What are they? 9. I feel them lash out at me and it hurts. I'm going to die. 10. I hit my front door crying with fear as I feel the light switch. I find it and flick it on. The light explodes across the hallway. I survived! I fall to the ground in a heap, crying until my exhausted mind and body finally decide to let go. I pass out. I sleep for almost 2 days. I felt a lot better. It was light outside when I finally woke up. I got up off the floor and went towards the kitchen to get a glass of water. My throat was bone dry and it hurt to breathe. I passed the mirror on the way down the hallway, glancing onto its surface as I pass. I go slack-jawed and nearly vomit. I look in the mirror, and I saw a pair of jet black eyes staring back.